Hey, Michelle Malkin's here. Michelle, I saw you last night with Sean. I know you took in almost all the testimony possible yesterday. Does anything change today?
I hope so. I think that the sobriety with which those three whistleblowers testified should blunt a lot of what's coming. And I warned about it before the hearings, the smear campaign against these whistleblowers, because this is the Chicago way. And they were gearing up a lot of the Obama operatives and water carriers to rip these people to shreds. But I don't think that you could come away from that hearing and have anything but absolute respect for the courage that they showed and the compassion that they have for the families of the victims that were murdered that night.
And in fact, one of them made it very clear yesterday, I believe it was Mr. Nordstrom, that the reason they came forward was to make sure that, so the record is set straight for the families. Mr. Hicks, Greg Hicks, it's interesting, he knew, and the government circulated the word early on, that it was terrorists. And yet, you've got Susan Rice going out on television, and she's saying that it was all because of that video. Mr. Hicks says, I was stunned, my jaw dropped, I was embarrassed. Also, they decided early to send in a special ops team that could have perhaps done something, but extraordinarily, the special ops people were told to stand down, and the special ops people were furious.
Yeah, this Jenga tower of lies that Hillary built, particularly in that January hearing, is all crumbling down. And if things don't change immediately exactly today, I think the takeaway from the hearing is that she's in trouble, and so are her damage control duet of Beth Jones and Cheryl Mills, who were name-checked repeatedly by the whistleblowers. And in particular, I think Greg Hicks' description of that harrowing night and those 7 hours in hell that all of the people at the consulate went through is going to blow right up in her face. And if you go back to that famous exchange between Senator Ron Johnson and Hillary Clinton at that January hearing, the reason why it's so famous, of course, is because what she said at the end, what difference does it make? But if you go through that whole 6 or 7 minute segment, you see just how many times she lied, because she never mentioned that she talked specifically to Greg Hicks that night. And as he said yesterday, he made it clear to her that this was an attack that had nothing to do with a YouTube video that was, as he said, quote, a non-event.
Right. And now they may be actually calling Susan Rice and Hillary Clinton to testify if there are any additional hearings. But Michelle, how far up, I know you're talking about Hillary Clinton, who was Secretary of State. How far up do you think that the messaging came to her, or do you think it was solely her decision? Did it come from the administration as well in the White House?
Well, in terms of the Department of State, she is responsible. And then the messaging, of course, was coordinated between the State Department and the White House. And ultimately, it is the man who refused to watch the hearings yesterday because, as his press secretary said, he doesn't bother to watch TV in the afternoon, couldn't deign to do that. And I think the question, politically is, will he get away with it? And of course, the fact is that these people lied through their teeth before the election, and they still got away with it. I think what we have to do is carry the message, particularly of Greg Hicks, describing in the most moving way how they were under attack. And the very last line of his testimony before Darrell Issa closed the hearing was that the message from the administration, from Obama on down, was, you're on your own. They abandoned these Americans.
And here is one of the whistleblowers, Eric Nordstrom. He's talking to Congressman Micah. Well, you wanted this exchange, so let's listen.
I think the basic message is that whether or not you're sitting out at the post requesting resources, preparing for testimony before this committee, or standing on a building surrounded by an armed mob attacking you, the message is the same. You're on your own.
There you go.
And basically, Hicks has been demoted already. So those people out there, his career was on a glide path. He's got an impeccable track record and report card, but yet he can't get a good assignment now. So what kind of message is that to whistleblowers?
Well, it's a chilling one, but it is a theme of this administration, whether you're talking about the ATF whistleblowers who came forward on Fast and Furious and were threatened, had their guns taken away from them, were also demoted, had to sue to get justice in their case. The former AmeriCorps Inspector General Gerald Walpin, who was unceremoniously dismissed from his job because he blew the whistle on corruption that was tied to cronies of the Obamas. Goes on and on and on. And this is how these thugs roll. And it's about time that the American people stand by the people who are telling the truth.
Michelle, before I let you go, do you think we'll ever get the answers to these three questions? Who authorized changing the talking points? Who told the military to stand down? And who told Susan Rice to say it was the videotape? Will we ever hear actual names?
Well, you know, Darrell Issa closed that hearing yesterday by noting that although the hearing was closed, the investigation was, quote unquote, far from over.
Okay.
Good. We've got a lot of questions. All right. She joins us once a week from the Springs of Colorado. Michelle, thank you very much.
And we will have